Yes. Coinbase is about to release the Base app. So, Brian Armstrong just went on the Shawn Ryan podcast. We just saw Charles Hoskinson on this same show. So, first of all, guys, kudos and round of applause for Shawn Ryan to continue to have on some of the top individuals in the cryptocurrency space. Obviously, everyone knows who Brian Armstrong is, CEO of Coinbase. What I'm going to do on this live right now with you guys, ladies and gentlemen, is go through some of these viral clips that are coming from this episode with Brian Armstrong and Shawn Ryan. All right, number one, this is news to me. Brian Armstrong talked about the Base app. He's actually giving our top tier Vigilance Elite Patron members early access, Patreon, where is my mind at, to the beta. But I want to play all these clips. I want you to listen to what Brian Armstrong is saying because this sounds insane. This sounds like something of what Elon Musk was trying to do with X in some ways, shape, and form. We'll see. Will Mr. Beast be the new CEO of X? Maybe. Linda Yaccarino's gone. But want to play this. Let's listen to these clips of Brian Armstrong on the Shawn Ryan podcast. We're going to start with this one here, talking about the Base app. Listen to how interesting this sounds. All right, I'm not sure if this is playing. Let me see. For some reason. Okay. Let me get the right one on the screen first, because they make it very difficult for me to do this. With the audio, you got to share the whole thing itself. Thought I had the right one up. This looks like it's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play this from the beginning. Listen to what Brian Armstrong is saying, because this sounds insane to me. I had no idea Base was doing this.
It's the Amazon of crypto.
Yeah, so Base is an app that we just launched the beta of it last week. If you're a content creator, either you have a podcast, you're a musician, you're putting out music, or you just post on social media like text content or anything, you can have a direct relationship with your audience and actually monetize from them directly. Every social media post on Base, the minute you post it, it has a coin with a market cap that people can trade. And they can also buy a coin of you as the content creator, and they can say, okay, I like that post. I think Shawn's going to put out a lot more banger content. Let me buy his token, and you have a market cap. Like your thing can go up and down. And so even like Google and Facebook, they always have these ads, right? Because payments are so high friction on the internet, most of the big companies got built on the ad business model. And that means that they're collecting all your information and trying to sell it to advertisers. We think it's going to actually put this whole ad business model, like flip it on its head, where instead of 95% of the value going to the platforms, it's going to go to the content creators. It's a self-custodial wallet, so we can distribute it to 190 countries from day one.
How do I get on the wait list?
We can give you an invite code or something if you want to give it to Patreon members or something like that.
Oh, yes, I would love that.
How many Patreon members do you have?
We got about 90,000.
Okay. That's even bigger than I thought.
But we can break it up.
I mean, I had no idea. Coinbase is doing so much right now. The opportunities, I mean, they're the custodial for BlackRock when it comes to buying for ETFs. They have a partnership with a bank now that we covered on the live last week with you guys. They're doing this. They have Bitcoin for loans as collateral, which already has billions behind it. Coinbase is doing so much right now. It's insane. And again, you know, Coinbase IPO'd a couple years ago. We're starting to see massive IPOs get attention now. Kathy Wood was a big, I remember making fun of Kathy a couple years back. She sold her Coinbase at a profit, or excuse me, at a big loss. And like right after that, it shot up. Kathy sold some of her Coinbase just last week to buy Ethereum as a treasury strategy. But this is the way that this is going right now. Coinbase is turning into they're just doing so many different things. There are so many clips. I can't wait to listen to this outside of seeing these clips on social media, the whole thing on YouTube. I want to listen to this whole entire interview probably tonight. But just some of the clips I'm seeing so far, it's pretty crazy. I didn't know that Coinbase had this up their sleeve. The Base app was going to be like this. If you guys use Coinbase, 58 of you guys on X right now watching, chat, let me know if you guys use Coinbase. I've been a Coinbase user for 4+ years. I've heard very mixed things in regards to Coinbase's customer service. But in my opinion, these are reasons why. Coinbase is trying to become a massive company. I believe they're already a Fortune 500 company. They've been around for a decade plus. Brian Armstrong has been out here being an advocate for Bitcoin and crypto for a very long time. But when you become this big of a company and you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, things get sacrificed. And customer service could be one of those things. I've had 1 or 2 experiences before where I was a little sus, a little not happy about. But I've seen a lot of bad stuff on X about Coinbase and some people not being able to spend their money or send their money or withdraw their money for extended periods of time. That's not good. Even after I saw someone who was a customer for like 5 years, 6 years, and then just out of nowhere, they couldn't access their money. So this is why smaller exchanges like a Kraken, for example, I've seen a lot of good things about Kraken because they're not doing all these things Coinbase is doing. They don't have the same issues. But listen, guys, I'm not crapping on Coinbase. I'm a customer. I have their debit card. I've always been a fan. I have respect for Brian Armstrong, and I want to continue to play these clips because a lot of them went viral. And so far, a lot of them are stuff that we've been talking about. And I'll give you an example. On this channel last week, I shared with you guys twice what I thought my conspiracy is behind who is Satoshi. This right here. I want you to listen to what Brian Armstrong says. If you are in the crypto space and you've been following this, you guys probably know the conspiracies behind who Satoshi is. This is no secret if you have been involved with crypto for a year plus now. These conspiracies are out there, right? We saw that one reel/TikTok that went viral recently that was turned out to be complete BS, where the guy was talking about the Buckazoids and Satoshi and then Nakamoto, the 2 founders who knew Hal Finney. Supposedly that was a crock of BS. But Hal Finney, you're going to listen in this clip here. Brian Armstrong thinks he says it's probably Hal Finney. Doesn't mention Adam Back in this at all. Doesn't mention Elon in this at all, which were some of the other conspiratorial and, people who behind Satoshi. Obviously, Adam Back has papers about this before Bitcoin was even created. He was consulted with by whoever the Satoshi is, one person or group of people, about the paper when they were creating the white paper and Bitcoin itself. But let's listen to this clip from Brian Armstrong on the Shawn Ryan podcast discussing who he thinks Satoshi is.
Who is Satoshi Nakamoto?
So nobody knows for sure, but I think there's a couple good theories out there. One is that there's this guy, Hal Finney, computer scientist. He passed away. There's a good argument he's probably one of the people that created it. Now, it could have been multiple people that collaborated and tried to use this pseudonym. They knew that if this worked, that they might get hauled in front of Congress or, killed. Yeah. They did mine a lot of early Bitcoin, which is now worth a ton of money, at least $100 billion. There's another guy, Nick Szabo, who may have been a collaborator. There might have been a third person. Journalists and stuff have tried to track down these different people who may or may not have been Satoshi. I think most of them got it wrong. The most likely explanation is it's probably Hal Finney, maybe in collaboration with 1 or 2 people like Nick Szabo. Regardless of who Satoshi actually is, the idea stands on its own. Bitcoin, that white paper, is a genuine breakthrough in computer science. If China or like these big nation state actors with the top resources, everything in the world, if they could find a way to break it, they would be able to take $1 trillion or something out of Bitcoin.
Yeah. And moving on. So that's what Brian Armstrong happens to think. I don't think he cares at all at this point. I don't think Brian Armstrong cares. I don't think any of these guys really care. I don't think any of these billionaires care at this point. Now, if you were here with us this morning, I talked about Bill Miller, and I talked about him last week as well. Bill Miller is one of the billionaires who is quietly shifting towards Bitcoin in a massive way. Over 50% of his entire portfolio, his entire net worth is in Bitcoin at this point. If you don't know who Bill Miller is, he's one of the best investors of all time. He's a billionaire. And this is a breaking clip. I wanted to talk about it because I mentioned Bill Miller this morning on the other live stream. And I want you guys to listen to what he says here, because we also talked about Ethereum. I explained this morning, there is a generational difference between investors like me and maybe some of you guys watching now. I'm assuming that we probably have a younger audience. There's probably some people, you know, whatever age you are, but I'm assuming our audience is more young. I am of the stature, and I'm assuming some of us are here, where we don't have billions of dollars yet. We don't have millions of dollars yet. So people like ourselves, yes, Bitcoin is great because I look at it as a retirement, but I don't have an insane amount of money yet that I want to preserve. A guy like Bill Miller looks at Bitcoin as something that's going to preserve his wealth and grow it over time. But we're still looking for stuff outside of Bitcoin that's going to do X's, going to do a 5X, a 5, 10, 15, 20 more X than Bitcoin will in the short term here, right? So Bill Miller says, basically Bitcoin's it, everything else is trash. All right. To him, that might make sense. To you and me, probably not. But let's listen to Bill. Let's hear what he has to say.
It's my take that in 20 to 30 years, every company might be a Bitcoin treasury company. And the reason for that is what I just mentioned. The underlying protocol for what we're representing as value is much more stable in Bitcoin than it is with fiat technology. So, you know, we own Strategy. You look at the deal that Michael just did with STRC, many times oversubscribed. And what I think is likely to happen moving forward is people are going to look around, and the bond managers that are buying the Bitcoin related bonds are going to outperform the ones that don't. And the equity fund managers that buy Bitcoin related stuff are going to outperform the ones that don't. And people are going to keep looking around and going, how do I do that? Oh, I buy stuff that's tied to Bitcoin. And so, and then they're going to actually do work on it, which most people still haven't actually done. And it's just going to snowball downhill, which is what we've seen for the past 16 years. It's my take that in 20 to 30 years.
Okay. So first off, a couple things that I would like to show you guys. Let me just go ahead and share. But you got to listen to what these guys are saying. You have to. And first off, this is who I was talking about. This is the Bill Miller I was referencing. This guy right here. I guess this is his son. This is who has over half his portfolio in Bitcoin. But yeah. Benjamin, appreciate you, brother, for reposting the stream. God bless. On X, thank you. Up to 90 viewers on X right now. But I don't know who else is talking about this stuff, guys. This is the reason why I like to come on these lives and talk about these things. You don't ever see a lot of other YouTube channels talking about a guy like Bill Miller. You don't see a lot of guys showing you the things of what we show here on a daily. Announced earlier today that we covered right in the breaking moment, Sui is now going to have their own treasury from a company. Insane. We're now starting to see treasuries for Doge, XRP. So again, you have a generational gap where we talked about this morning. Ray Dalio talked about 15% of your portfolio should be Bitcoin. That's a billionaire, founder of Bridgewater, hedge fund, Bridgewater Capital. Ray's been around the block for decades. All these guys now are starting to flip. And again, the only guy who I think is holding out just because it doesn't care, it doesn't matter if he adopts Bitcoin or not, it's Warren Buffett. We're starting to see everybody else flip, even Jamie Dimon. Warren's the last straw. He is the last straw. Unfortunately, Charlie's no longer around. Charlie called it rat poison. Now it's just Warren by himself. Now, I want to do a video here on the Coin Zone. Maybe we'll do this in the future. But I want to make a video about how if Warren Buffett was my age, he would be buying Bitcoin. Let me tell you why. Warren's whole thesis is the long game. It's time in the market, not timing the market. Compound interest. Warren's net worth in his 50s, year over year, doubled and doubled and doubled, and his net worth grew exponentially. because he compounded for so many years that after a certain point, it started to grow insane amounts. So if Warren was now our age, that same strategy, he would do that with Bitcoin. What in the S&P would he do that with? The past decade, Bitcoin outperformed all of that. So again, if Warren Buffett was a Gen Zer and he was 24 years old or something, and he wanted to do the same strategy that he did back in the day, he would do it with Bitcoin. What else would he do it with? Someone changed my mind. Chat, you want to comment? Maybe ETH. But the principles, again, you have these types of guys. The way that they talk about Bitcoin, they understand it now more than anything else. This is phase one is complete. They get BTC. Now it's starting to understand Ethereum. It's phase one. We're moving into phase two. But some of these guys, they're still in phase one. Some of these phase oneers are starting to they're seeing Bitcoin. They're like, oh, like these big guys are getting FOMO. And if they don't know what ETH is yet, the future is going to be insane. All right, we're close to phase two right now in the one rainbow chart where we're discussing where we're at in the market, when the bull run is coming, when is alt season coming. And this is it, guys. I mean, these are really just the things I wanted to show you. These clips of Brian Armstrong going viral. Very crazy. And I think you got to look at these things. The Base app, what Coinbase is doing, you got to look at it. You know, Coinbase is such a big company. Brian Armstrong was at the White House last week during the signing of the Genius Act 2 weeks ago now. I don't even know. But you guys were with us then, and you're with us now. Go watch our latest video that dropped today, this morning, right here in the Coin Zone. Go to the Coin Zone on YouTube, watch our latest video. And if you guys haven't subbed already, go ahead and do that for me. If you have subbed already, God bless, we love you. My name is Paul, Crypto with Paul. This is the Coin Zone, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning for another live stream. In the meantime, peace and love.